Good morning. It is 9:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. How are you? Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We love those guys. I had a great weekend. Did you have a great weekend, Mason?
My weekend was pretty good. No complaints over here.
It was pretty good, man. Yeah. We got some church in. We got some baseball in.
Ooh.
We got to just like really hang out with the kids. And
How'd the team do?
Well, actually, we won, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's huge.
My boys are playing great, and it's fun. I don't know. Some parents really get into it.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's have fun.
Yeah.
And the kids had some fun. We got another game tonight.
Nice. That'll be huge.
I don't know who we're playing. My team is the Mets, though. We're down there over at Sportscom in Murfreesboro. And we got a game tonight. It was like 5 o'clock-ish.
Nice.
So
imagine if all the listeners showed up and just were cheering your kids' names.
Oh, my gosh. Yo,
Huge.
we should roll deep one
Huge.
day. I'll let you guys know once it gets to playoff time. We might need that.
Yeah.
You're not one of those parents that's like brawling in the stands, are you?
No.
No? Okay, good.
That's not my style.
What kind of call was that?
Some of the guys do, man.
I believe it, yeah.
It's wild. And I'm like, guys, it's just, they're 7.
My husband used to be an umpire, and he would get threats. Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay, well, all right. I threatened one umpire.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm kidding.
What for?
No, I'm kidding. But no, great weekend, awesome weekend, a lot of fun, and I still didn't have as good a weekend as Trump.
Oh, yeah?
No, I mean, still. Do you see Trump at UFC
Yeah.
in
Oh,
Miami? Yeah. Just rolling deep. He's showing up with his grandkids. The crowd going absolutely bananas.
Making the entrance right now to a standing ovation, the 47th president of the United States of America.
He's got his own walk-in music.
CEO Dana White and others, Donald J. Trump.
Crowd going bananas.
Is there anybody else that has a walk-in other than a fighter? He has some music.
He is a
Kid
fighter.
Rock starts playing.
He is a fighter. Nailed it.
NCAA tournament too. He always gets a walkout. It's like a prerequisite for him coming. Give him the walkout.
Give him the walkout.
That's so good.
You give him that. I love what you said there. He
Yeah.
is a fighter.
Oh, absolutely.
Fight. My big takeaway from this is I look and I see no teleprompters, no handlers, nobody whispering instructions. Just the people's president walking in by himself. It wasn't just this moment here at UFC. He also was on Air Force One, and it's like, what is it, almost 2 o'clock in the morning, and he's giving interviews to the press, and he says, "Listen, I'm always available, unlike one Senior Joe Biden."
It's like 2 in the morning, and we're doing this. You people requested. I'm always available, unlike Biden. Think Biden would do an interview at 2 in the morning? He wouldn't do one at 9 in the morning.
No, actually, I think many times at 9 in the morning they'd already called a lid for the day with Joe Biden. So what we see is it's just I think it's more than optics. You see Trump always engaged, leading from the front, and Biden would disappear when things got tough. Trump is always there for a question, always there for the interview. He's always showing up. He is. Have we had a more front-facing president than Trump in recent years, where he's just everywhere all the time, nonstop? It's unbelievable, and you see him showing this strength by just being everywhere all the time, and then you see him with strength on foreign policy. You see him strength. The strength is domestic. The strength is foreign. Today we got Nayib Bukele coming to the White House. That should be fun. Are you excited about that? El Salvador's president. You know that actually, currently, right now, El Salvador is safer, according to our government, to visit than France, Sweden, the UK, Italy, Germany, Spain, and the Netherlands. El Salvador is safer. So Nayib Bukele is going to be visiting the White House today. That's going to be pretty fun, and we'll see what happens. Trump put out on Truth Social this post where he said, "Looking forward to seeing President Bukele of El Salvador on Monday. Our nations are working closely together to eradicate terrorist organizations, build a future of prosperity. President Bukele has graciously accepted into his nation's custody some of the most violent alien enemies of the world, and in particular, the United States. These barbarians are now in the sole custody of El Salvador, a proud and sovereign nation, and their future is up to President B and his government. They will never threaten or menace our citizens again. Big takeaway there. President B, is that what we're going with now? Is Trump giving other world leaders nicknames, and is President B the greatest of all time? I wonder what nickname he has for Macron of France. It's probably not as polite.
Probably can't say that on the air.
Probably can't say that one on the air. So Nayib Bukele is going to come to the White House today. As that visit kicks off, I hope it happens while we're on the air. I don't envision an Oval Office meeting a la Zelensky. I envision something a bit more cordial. But we'll be there. We'll be there watching it and monitoring that. Now, the Trump administration, and you'll notice it in that Truth Social post. It's kind of it's slyly woven in there where he says President Bukele has graciously accepted into his nation's custody, right? His nation's custody, some of the most violent enemies of the world, and in particular the United States. These barbarians are now in the sole custody of El Salvador. And the administration, I know he wove that in there on purpose because the administration is responding to activist judges and their demands for the Maryland dad to be returned, the MS-13 gang member. And they say he is under the sovereign domestic authority of El Salvador. That's good. That's good. Well, I wonder if this is going to come up. You know, some reporters are going to ask the question about that dear old Maryland dad who also happens to be an El Salvadoran citizen and a member of MS-13. Now, one of the reasons that they want to bring him back, right? The dear old Maryland dad who's also a member of MS-13 and El Salvadoran citizen. The reason they want to bring him back, is because he was afraid that he would be persecuted by El Salvador's gangs. And again, I just want to point out, El Salvador now has a level 1 advisory, safer than France, Sweden, UK, Italy, Germany, Spain, and the Netherlands. I feel like that whole argument is completely bunk. Completely. So Nayib Bukele is going to be coming to the White House today, and we'll keep you updated on that. That's going to be a cool meeting. I like Nayib Bukele. Do you like Nayib Bukele? I think everybody does. Everybody does. He cleaned up those streets super fast. And one of the things that he also did was get rid of radical activist judges. Maybe we could learn a thing or two from Nayib Bukele. But the big conversation today is the tariffs. And if you paid attention to the weekend news shows, and I say news with air quotes, the weekend news shows, you'll have noticed that the new Democrat talking point has been decided on, and that Democrat talking point, well, it consists of one magic word. Western Lensman on X put this together. That magic word, my friends, chaos.
We begin this hour with the chaos.
The average American sees chaos. The American people see chaos.
It's total chaos.
You brought chaos.
It's just complete chaos.
Unleashed an economic chaos.
They unleash chaos.
They are creating chaos.
This chaos.
There's too much chaos.
Total chaos.
That amidst the chaos,
We're going to see chaos.
After seeing all the chaos,
The chaos is unleashed on America.
Continue to see the chaos.
economic chaos.
A lot more chaos.
Trump's chaos.
This is chaos. With such chaos.
The chaos, because of this chaos.
All of this chaos. Uncertainty and chaos.
Given all that chaos,
When it's chaos.
All the chaos. Chaos and confusion grow.
It's more chaos, dysfunction.
the chaos is the purpose. The chaos is the goal.
It's chaos.
It's chaos, my friends. Chaos. What Trump is doing on the world stage with these tariffs is chaos. For who? I would ask for who? You see, when you look in certain areas, people are actually very happy about the tariffs. In fact, do you remember Sean Fain? He's the UAW president, the United Auto Workers president. Do you remember at the Democrat National Convention, he didn't exactly have the nicest things to say about Donald Trump. And at the National Convention, he said this.
Donald Trump is a scab.
Trump is a billionaire, and that's who he represents.
You know, it's funny that was the talking point from UAW President Sean Fain. What was this, like 6-7 months ago? But now, actually, Sean Fain is singing Donald Trump's praises. I know. I was as shocked to find this out as you were. And he's not just singing the praises, via press releases or anything like that. He's going on MSNBC to sing Donald Trump's praises when it comes to these tariffs.
We've been very clear. We do believe, and we know, when it comes to auto, when it comes to heavy truck and agricultural implement, we know that tariffs will influence these companies to do the right thing and reinvest in this country and reinvest in factories in this country. It's interesting. Stellantis, as Trump was announcing the tariff, announced at the same moment that they were going to lay off 800 people. That didn't change as Trump was making an announcement. To me, it's just trying to bait people. At the end of the day, we believe that Stellantis and these companies will bring work back because of these tariffs. I mean, look what they've done without them. Let's talk about the realities of what, and this is the thing, I've been reading a lot of this lately. Going back, in 1992, I voted for Ross Perot. Mm-hmm. You know why I voted for Ross Perot? For one reason, because he was the only candidate that talked about how devastating NAFTA would be to American jobs and to our manufacturing base. And he talked about that giant sucking sound. I've read this book here in the last week, Save your jobs, save our country. Why NAFTA must be stopped now. What's interesting? Since then, Ross Perot's become a prophet. Since NAFTA was inception in 1993, we've lost 90,000 manufacturing facilities in this country, millions of jobs. And these weren't, low-end jobs. These were jobs that paid decent wages,
So now Sean Fain is a big Trump fan. The same guy that called him a scab. The word that the Democrats are using is chaos, but it seems like the foot soldiers of the Democrat Party, guys like Sean Fain over at the UAW, seem to actually really like the policies that he's implementing. They seem to be really okay with the tariffs that Donald Trump has been using and how he's been using them. And then when you zoom out a little bit further and you look at some things like the polling seems to favor Donald Trump in the tariffs too, especially when it comes to the auto sector. And there's a new CBS poll out. Brad Todd was on CNN talking about this, saying that Americans overwhelmingly support these tariffs on autos.
Later this week, you saw a lot more clarity heading into the goal, which is get tough on China, be open to negotiate with other countries. If President Trump will sell this as a fairness issue, Americans are going to be with him. That CBS poll indicates a majority support his goals on this. Germany shouldn't be taxing our cars at 100% when we tax theirs at a quarter of that. Mm-hmm. It's a basic level of fairness. And Democrats, for their part, this is a big chance for them. Like Elizabeth Warren, who you had on the show earlier, she's been for tariffs her whole life, but she hates Donald Trump more than she likes the things she believes in. Mm-hmm. It's a big chance. Joe Biden added tariffs to electric vehicles and solar panels and steel and aluminum. Democrats need to work with Donald Trump to crack down on China.
Yep. Democrats need to work with Donald Trump. I know the CNN audience doesn't want to hear that. Democrats need to work with Donald Trump. He's actually doing some good things. And you know what? We could have a tariff deal done very soon. Carolyn Levitt was asked, when are these deals going to come to fruition? We've heard 75 countries, 80 countries, 90 countries. Some are even saying close to 130 countries are trying to negotiate currently. Carolyn Levitt, when can we expect the first tariff deal to be done? I'll bring you that audio when we get back. It's 9:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for my friends at United Structural Systems. You know them as USS. We got more rain coming this evening. Have you gotten your waterproofing issues fixed yet? If you haven't, and you've looked at the forecast, you're kicking yourself because you know what's going to happen. That water's going to get into your crawl space. That water's going to get into your basement, and it's going to wreak havoc on your home. Chaos, if you will. Well, the guys at USS, they know how to fix that chaos of your waterproofing issues. And they understand if you don't fix it, and you understand this as well, it's only going to get worse. We're talking about mold. We're talking about wood rot that leads to foundation issues. Don't let it get any worse. Talk to USS today. They'll send a guy over to your house that's not a sales guy, not a guy with a quota. They're going to send an expert that's going to create a custom solution for you, a guy that won't leave until the job is done and you're satisfied. And when they do leave, they leave behind a warranty that is good for life. Even if you leave the home, the warranty will stay. That's how confident the guys at USS are that they're going to fix your waterproofing needs. That's how they've gotten 30,000 satisfied residential customers. That's why they've been in business since 1994. Call USS today. They're serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, and Western Kentucky. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. Online, USSTN.com.
Coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, a body of a missing teenager has been recovered from the Tennessee River. Also, Pfizer has given up on its own version of a weight loss drug. Those stories and more coming up here at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Poor Pfizer. How will they ever recover?
I knew you would feel sorry for them. Yeah.
My heart breaks. I
Got
weep.
your heartstrings. Yeah.
I weep for them over at Pfizer. It's 9:27 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can watch the show. We are live on Super Talk TV. And one of the cool things that we're doing is anytime you hear an audio clip on your radio, well, you'll be able to see the video accompanying it during our live stream on Super Talk TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. If you're over on YouTube, hit like and subscribe. It's going to help me send my kids to a great summer camp as opposed to a work camp, and it's free to do. So it's really on you. They got teeny tiny little hands. They can make some great things. So either or, it doesn't matter to me. Carolyn Levitt, she was talking about tariffs. And this is Friday night. She's on the Hannity show. And they said, okay, when can we expect the first tariff deal to be done?
The president saying it's either going to be free or fair trade or reciprocal tariffs. They all want to come to the table. They all want a deal. And I'm told that deal number one is close to being finished. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. It is true. We believe that there could be several deals very soon. More than 75 countries have reached out to the administration. More than 15 offers are on the table. And the president's trade team and the president himself are working very hard to negotiate tailor-made trade deals with every country that has reached out. No other president has had the courage to fully use the leverage of the United States of America, not just our economic might, but our military and national security might as well. And, I was asked an interesting question earlier this week by a reporter at Fake News CNN. She said at the premise of her question, Caroline, the whole world is on notice because of what President Trump is doing. And I said to her, that's exactly the point. The world is on notice. The world is finally realizing that under this president, the United States of America is not going to be taken advantage of.
That's exactly the point, says Carolyn Levitt. Oh, the whole world's on notice. Don't you feel bad for them? Yeah, about as bad as I feel about Pfizer scrapping that weight loss drug, actually. Dude, don't you feel bad? No, this is the point. This is exactly what he got into office promising to do. And for some reason, the fake news, they're shocked that he's following through on his campaign promises. Now, she said that they're negotiating with 75 different countries. Economic Council Director actually has an updated number. Kevin Hassett says it's far more than 75. We'll bring you what Kevin Hassett said on the other side of Jones Newscast. Plus, we'll dive into where we're really pushing the envelope when it comes to tariffs, and that's China. We'll cover that next right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
China.
Good morning. It's 9:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There's still work in that crash scene in Hermitage this morning. It's on 40 westbound before Old Hickory Boulevard East. That's exit 221B. 2 right lanes are still blocked off by the crash. 5 days after 3 Loudoun County teenagers jumped off a bridge to escape police, the body of the last one has now been recovered from the waters of the Tennessee River. That incident began as a car chase last Wednesday. One of the teens swam to the shore off Lake Drive. A second teen was found dead Friday. The Loudoun County Sheriff's Office were aided by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency in the underwater search for the third teen whose body was recovered yesterday. President Trump providing relief to the tech industry by temporarily exempting smartphones and computers from reciprocal tariffs.
Some traders have joked that they could use a Dramamine given these mixed signals from the administration on trade, on tariffs. And some of the big winners this morning include Apple, Google, and Nvidia. According to the Census Bureau, those now exempted tech products accounted for about $100 billion, or 23% of U.S. imports from China last year.
That's ABC's Rebecca Jarvis. Now, stocks are jumping open today. We've got the Dow Jones Industrials up 403. NASDAQ is gaining 271 right now, and the S&P is up 73 points. Nuclear talks between the U.S. and Iran are expected to continue next weekend. Negotiators met briefly on Saturday.
Both the U.S. and Iran have signaled that Saturday's talks were positive. The meeting took place in Oman and lasted about 2 hours, and it's significant because it marks the first direct contact between these two nations since President Trump returned to office. U.S. Envoy Steve Witkoff led the discussions, which were primarily focused on Iran's nuclear program.
ABC's Marcus Moore. President Trump has said that Iran can never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. And Pfizer has decided to stop testing a daily weight loss pill that was under development. The company admits that one of the subjects in the drug trials suffered a liver injury, which reversed after the patient stopped taking the pill. Pfizer's among several drug makers racing to bring more convenient weight loss medicine to a space that's now dominated by weekly injections. That is the latest news. Weather's up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You might be wondering why you need them.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
BetterWater.com. You can listen to the show a variety of ways. iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. All those apps are available for free, as well as the 99.7 WTN app. You can watch the show, Super Talk TV. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Hit like, hit subscribe. It helps me feed the kids. And as an added bonus, anytime you hear audio on the radio, well, you get the video on the YouTube stream. I think a couple of the other guys are doing that as well now too. But me and Mason, we're consistently doing that.
OGs.
Oh yeah, we're the OGs on that.
Yeah, we start the trends, keep things moving.
We started the trend by saying, how come all these other YouTubers have video on their stream? So
let's do that.
Well, let's do that. So it's one of the added bonuses to watching the stream. You'll get the video as well. So Carolyn Levitt said on Hannity Friday night that the first tariff deal is very, very close. And she was saying that more than 75 countries have reached out to the administration. They got about 15 offers on the table. Now, art of the deal, they're not going to take the first offer that's offered. They're going to negotiate and all that. But she says expect the first deal very, very soon. Smart money's on Japan. Smart money's on Japan being the first tariff deal. I don't know. Does Polymarket have any betting on which country is going to be the first to come in with a tariff deal?
I'm not sure, but they definitely should.
They definitely should. And again, smart money would be on Japan. I don't know if you'd make all your money betting on Japan, but that's where the smart money would be.
Yeah.
And so she had said 75 different countries, 15 deals on the table. That number is just increasing at a very, very fast pace. And our economic council director, Kevin Hassett, he was on CNN, and this is over the weekend. He's on with Fake Tapper, and he says, listen, we're not at 75 anymore. We are closer to 130 countries trying to make a deal. It's like, is Howie Mandel, did he host that? Let's Make a Deal?
Yeah.
So they're doing their best Howie Mandel.
The way that I would think about it is that in the previous administration, you could sort of say, if you're thinking about it in the football analogy, is that they were running out the clock. And that what's going on now in the Trump administration is across a wide array of policy areas, we're in a 2-minute offense.
Let me do my best, Ken Weaver. Football!
Chris, I was drinking.
Football!
Football!
That's pretty good, right? Is that pretty good, Ken?
That's pretty good.
I'll try it again when Ken gets in here after 10:30. Joan, for whatever reason, doesn't have any catchphrases yet. Nothing. Football! Can you imagine Joan doing that? Joan, can you say football? No?
I think she's editing.
Do I have to?
Oh. Give it to us once, Joan.
All right. Football.
All right.
That's pretty good.
How'd I do?
Pretty good.
It's okay. It's a work in progress.
I'm from New Jersey, after all.
That's Joan's favorite catchphrase is, I'll slash your tires.
Right.
So he gives the football analogy.
And the 2-minute offense is pushing, as you've seen, the reconciliation bill through so that we get tax relief for American people, deregulation, and, of course, trade policy. Now, in the trade policy, the whole point of the trade policy is to address the national emergency that we're too dependent on foreign products in the U.S., especially if we were at a time of conflict.
And he's exactly right. I mean, listen, pharmaceuticals, steel, aluminum, all of these things that we would need to fight a war. Yeah, if the war breaks out, I don't know how do I say this in the most politically correct way? We'd be screwed. I think that's as close as I can get to politically correct. We'd be screwed.
And we're doing something about that. And the reciprocal act was basically, guys, if you come to the table and negotiate with us and treat us the same way we treat you, then we'll get your rate really low. And so right now, 130 countries,
which is almost double what we were saying last week, right? Last week it was 75, 80, maybe 90. Now we're at 130. So 20 away from doubling that original number of 75. 130 countries come to the table.
Have responded, and we're negotiating with them, and they've got their rate down to 10%. And so really, it's kind of almost a two-world system. There's a process about China, and that's very, very nascent, if at all. And then the process for everybody else. So the process for everybody else is orderly. It's clear. People are coming to town with great offers. We've got Japan, Korea.
What I say the smart money was on, right? Japan.
India. I was just talking to the foreign minister of India, and everything is moving forward very quickly. And so I guess the bottom line is that the small business owner has experienced over the last few weeks the start of a process that's settling down really quite quickly. Again, 130 countries are at 10% now.
130 countries trying to negotiate. It's going to settle down very quickly. What does that mean, right? Like how quickly could this settle down? I think it would depend on who you ask for that definition of how quick. Now, one of our new trade representatives, Jameson Greer, he was on with Margaret Brennan over at CBS Face the Nation over the weekend, and he's doing a lot of these trade deals. And to answer that question of how quick is very quickly, well, Jameson Greer says he wants to get meaningful deals done before the next 90 days. That seems pretty quick.
But I say it's a big ask because it takes time to negotiate. It could take you longer than 90 days, right? So does that mean this 90-day reprieve could continue to be renewed? I mean, do you know what happens at the end of 90 days? Is that the amount of time you have to negotiate deals with the 70 countries the White House says are calling?
Well, I'm considering that we have 90 days. Before April 2nd, we were already having many talks with other countries because everyone knew tariffs were coming. This was not some secret. Everyone knew, and so we already were in conversations with several countries. It's going to be up to these countries to come to the table, continue coming to the table, and make these kinds of offers. The reality is we're working around the clock, day and night, sharing paper, receiving offers, and giving feedback to these countries with respect to how they can better achieve reciprocal trade with the United States.
But 90 days could be a rolling deadline, is what I hear you saying.
Well, I would not say that. In the president's cabinet meeting last week, he was asked about this, and he said, well, we'll see. My goal is to get meaningful deals before 90 days, and I think we're going to be there with several countries in the next few weeks.
Several countries in the next few weeks, meaningful deals before that 90-day pause on tariffs is up. I think as soon as you start seeing deals roll in, there's going to be a little bit more motivation for other countries to get the ball rolling as well. We'll see what happens. But the elephant in the room currently is China. That's the elephant in the room. That's what this has all been about the entire time. China. We knew that. You knew that. It wasn't India. It was China. Thank you. Billionaire Chamath Palihapitiya. He's a billionaire. I don't know how to say his name, but he was on Laura Ingraham over the weekend. This is Friday night, excuse me. And he's not very happy. He says that the global elite are trying to scaremonger him when it comes to Trump and the tariffs that we're seeing. And a lot of fear mongering in D.C.
What I want to say is I think that we underestimate the difficulty, as you said, that China is in. So I'll just give you a couple stats. Together, America and China represent almost half of world GDP. But underneath the covers, what we keep forgetting time and again is America is the market that matters.
Yep.
China has an aging population. They have a very difficult case for foreign investment. In fact, foreign investment in China has fallen off of a cliff. They have very murky rules on IP, and they have a very difficult economic forecast if they shrink. And so when you look at the China case, they're in a worse position than we are, which is why they have to sort of come to the negotiating table now and figure out some reasonable thing. And I think this is what President Trump was alluding to when he said they want to come to the table and they don't quite know how.
Oh, so a lot of the fear-mongering about China going to eat our lunch, it's just that. It's fear-mongering, and it kind of goes back to what we've been saying on the show for a while. China's in a worse position than we are. But we don't need China. China definitely needs us. They definitely need us. And then when you wrap in all of the other things that come hand in hand with China, No, listen, screw China. Let's be perfectly honest. I don't want to do any business with China. I understand that that's going to be hard to detangle those relationships immediately. But if anybody can do it, it's going to be Donald Trump. Peter Navarro talking about the reality of what China has done to the United States over the past couple of decades. It's eye-opening, but it's nothing that we didn't know.
Let me just say 90 deals in 90 days, biggest, broadest tax cut in American history, should be driving the tape. That's what's going to be a bullish market. And if you're not long, you're going to get left behind. Now, China. Let's talk a little bit about China. The president has said several times now that he would love to hear from China to talk about where we're at. And here's where we're at, Maria. From our perspective, China's killed over 1 million Americans with deadly fentanyl and related drugs.
Yep.
And it simply refuses to do anything about that. Many of these people are prime-age workers, so they not only kill Americans, they're killing our workforce. At the same time, as you know, Maria, and we talk a lot about this, since 2001, China has destroyed over 60,000 American factories and stolen over 5 million manufacturing jobs. That's the state of play. So all we're asking for is fairness.
That's a big ask when you're asking China. And I think that they're going to keep applying that pressure to bring China to the table. And it does seem like that pressure is going to pan out, especially when you see the news this morning when it comes to NVIDIA, which we'll discuss in a little bit. But how is history going to look upon Donald Trump when this is all said and done? Stephen Miller, he was on Maria Bartiromo yesterday, and he said when it's all said and done, history is going to view Donald Trump very favorably for how he's handled China and how the global economic reset is taking place.
And put a spotlight on the bad behavior, and that's being nice about it, of communist China. Why is it that we allow them to roll over America and undermine this great country every day?
And they've done it for decades.
Yep.
It is shameful that core elements of our industrial base, our medical base, our manufacturing base, our pharmaceutical base, our defense base, our electronic components, our chips, our critical minerals, that all of the things that power a country, we've allowed those supply chains to be centered in China, to give China the ability to exert that kind of control over the rest of the world through these illicit means. That's unthinkable. President Trump, history will record that the actions President Trump has taken in recent days were the beginning of saving the West from complete economic domination by another power.
Yep. And that's how history is going to view this. I truly believe that. I think Stephen Miller is absolutely right. And I think that President Trump is the first president that we have seen in my lifetime with the spine to make this happen. Trump is putting America first. It has the Democrats in an absolute hissy fit. You heard the new word, right? The word is chaos. That's the new talking point from the Democrat Party. It's chaos. Oh, it's chaos. It wasn't chaos when the jobs were leaving. It wasn't chaos when your family was being laid off from their manufacturing job. That wasn't chaos. That was part of the plan. You see, like the Joker in The Dark Knight. Oh, if I tell you this is going to happen, it's all part of the plan. Nobody loses their mind. But if Donald Trump comes in and says he wants to put America first, well, everybody loses their minds. The chaos is what the Democrats are focusing on as they throw their hissy fit. Elizabeth Warren, she had some things to say about tariffs and how Biden's did tariffs versus how Trump is doing tariffs. See, Biden did tariffs, but he didn't do them with chaos. I'll bring you what Elizabeth Warren said when we get back. It's 9:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
What Tennessee lawmakers are hoping to do to speed things up as their session comes to a close. And a man charged with setting the Pennsylvania governor's mansion on fire, his mom is now speaking out. We've got those stories coming up at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. The Super Texters, they nailed your catchphrase, Joan.
Oh, really?
Yep. It's, I got you, insert relevant word. Right here, buddy.
I got you, whatever, right here, buddy.
Yep, that's your catchphrase.
That's it. Yeah, I love it. Okay, I'll go with that.
And a lot of the texters are saying that I wasn't putting enough emphasis on the foot in the bowl. It's football.
There you go.
I'll ask Ken how I did. Are you ready for an unpopular opinion? You ready for this?
Oh, yeah?
Haven't heard one of those lately.
Watching golf on TV is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I know everybody's like all jazzed up about the Masters, and like even CNN, we have CNN on the studio. Thanks, Matt Murphy. We have CNN on the studio. They're covering the Masters. I'm like, why? It's awful.
Because they don't like seeing Trump win, so they have to go to other people
Wait.
with sticks there.
Do you play golf?
No, I grew up in Massachusetts.
Okay,
it was
so
too
that's
cold.
why you don't care.
But I understand why somebody would want to play golf. Listen, fine. I get it. Go play. Watching that on TV? I was on Instagram over the weekend, and there was like people I know, they're like, hey, we're going to the bar to watch the Masters. And I'm like, why? Why would you want to do that? To be fair, I spent my weekend listening to Elizabeth Warren, so I don't know if I did anything.
The worst weekend,
what would you possibly know about fun?
I know. I don't know. Don't throw stones when you live in a glass house. Elizabeth Warren was talking about the difference between Biden's China tariffs and Trump's China tariffs.
You have called yourself a big supporter of tariffs. You've been a staunch critic of unfair trade practices from China. Less than a year ago, you praised President Biden's decision to slap tariffs on Chinese goods because he was, in your words, quote, standing up for American workers, unquote. So specifically on China, can you detail what exactly you would be doing differently than President Trump?
Well, let's keep in mind, tariffs can be an important tool in the toolbox when used in targeted ways. But right now, what we've got is chaos and corruption.
There's the word of the day. This show is sponsored by the word chaos.
Donald Trump has imposed a tariff on everyone, everywhere, on all products.
And nobody's complaining anymore. Did you notice that? The 10% baseline tariffs, no countries have been up in arms about that recently. It seems like that talking point has gone by the wayside.
That's the 10% tariff. Of course, it was much higher earlier in the week. And now in this trade war with China that basically tries to shut down all trade. And then right out in plain view, as if the chaos weren't enough, he adds a nice layer of corruption for everyone to see. And that is a special deal for his CEO donor. And that is an exception to the China deal for iPhones. Look, here's the problem. You can't get an economy strong and moving forward when it's loaded with chaos and corruption.
Oh, when it's loaded with chaos and corruption. Weird. Let's look back at the last 4 years under Biden. I mean, the statement might be factually true, but the way she's applying it, not exactly on point. But that's Elizabeth Warren. So while you losers were watching the Masters over the weekend, I was watching this clown. I know. It's an unpopular take. But seriously, who watches golf?
Good morning, 10 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Watch yourself on 40 westbound at Old Hickory Boulevard East. The right lane is still blocked there as the crews continue cleaning up a crash. And then you've got construction work in Talbot's Corner on 65 in the southbound lanes right at I-24. Well, today is the day the undocumented students bill is under consideration in the House Finance Committee. That bill allows schools in Tennessee to turn away or charge tuition for the children of families in the country illegally. That bill passed a full Senate vote last week.
And the bill's sponsor, Senator Bo Watson, and others in favor of the bill, they say many undocumented students are in Tennessee because schools can't ask their immigration status, and it's costing the state money. The House version of the bill does not require schools to check students' immigration status, and if it doesn't match the Senate version, a conference committee will have to sort it out before anything goes to Governor Lee.
WSMV's Joylyn Bukovac. Meantime, Tennessee legislators will vote on using a process called flow motion, which pushes bills through committees quickly to get those bills, including the governor's budget, passed in time for the legislature to adjourn. House Majority Leader William Lamberth.
That's the biggest part of it, is that you can move more rapidly. We do anticipate potentially that the budget would be on the floor next week. And so to move from finance sub to full calendar and rules, it is necessary to pass the flow motion.
This is not a new process. A suspect in custody after a terrifying arson attack targeted Pennsylvania's governor and his family over the weekend.
Authorities now charging 38-year-old Cody Balmer of Harrisburg with aggravated arson, attempted murder, and terrorism.
He clearly had a plan. He was very methodical in his approach, without a lot of hurry.
Police say the suspect confessed and told them he would have attacked Governor Shapiro with a hammer had he found him inside.
ABC's Aaron Katursky. Balmer's mother told CBS that her son is mentally ill and had gone off his medication. She said she tried to get her son picked up, those words, but couldn't get any help from the 4 police departments she contacted. El Salvador's president is scheduled to arrive any moment at the White House for a meeting with President Trump. His visit comes after Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced yesterday that 10 more gang members had been sent to El Salvador, where Bukele has successfully cracked down on gangs and crime in his country. A peek at stocks. I think you're going to like your 401k much better today. The Dow Jones Industrial's up 446. We've got the NASDAQ gaining 251 and the S&P 500 index up 74 points. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
I don't think I've caused this much of an uproar in the audience since last week when I said androids were trash phones. People are very upset at me that I didn't watch the Masters, and I think watching golf on TV is stupid. And then some other people are very, very much in agreement with it. I don't know why you'd watch golf on TV.
I think I had a better weekend than all of you. I watched paint dry.
3484 texted in, and he said, hey, Chris, it's Justin. I told Chad that watching golf would be worse than watching paint dry. He didn't agree. Say hi to me on the radio, and I'll hit like and subscribe. All right, do it. Do it. Hit like and subscribe. Don't do it for me. Do it for the kids.
Do it for the kids.
Do it for the kids. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. That's Super Talk TV. All of the audio elements that you hear on your radio will also have a video accompanying them on the live stream. And hit like and subscribe while you're there. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Yeah, I said it. Watching golf on TV is boring and dumb.
And I stand by it.
I do. I stand by it. I stand
I'm right
by
there
it.
with you.
They told me that I needed to come with some more hot takes and controversial opinions. So I just want to say watching golf on TV is dumb.
You're already based on all your news ticks, so you had to branch out a little bit.
Let me give you something a little bit controversial for this audience. Watching golf is dumb. I will say this, though. I have played Tiger Woods PGA back in the day on PS4. That was fun.
Yeah, I can't blame you on that. I was like,
much more fun than watching it on TV.
I played Wii Sports Golf, and that was more
there you
enjoyable.
Go. There you go. A little putt-putt action.
It's like I think the only golf piece of media that I've ever enjoyed is a Dude Perfect video doing trick shots. I know it's niche, but
it is. Listen, I'm picking up what you're putting down. 8167 says hockey is the most boring sport.
Wrong.
Tell them. Go tell them that.
Yeah, it was like gloves off immediately.
Yeah, gloves off.
When was the last time you saw a brawl at a golf game?
It was on Happy Gilmore. That was the last one. And Bob Barker.
And I'm pretty sure that one was edited. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, pushed his bleep in. R.I.P. Bob Barker. That was honestly. Is Happy Gilmore 2 coming out?
There was rumor about it like last year, I think. I don't know if it's ever actually going to happen.
I thought so. This is what I do sometimes, and you know how I am with my kids in TV.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, to the wife, I said I hadn't seen Happy Gilmore in a while. You know, our girl's getting old enough. Like that's a funny movie that we could watch that she probably hasn't seen. Made it like 7 minutes. I was like, gotta turn this off. Wait a couple more years. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Adam Sandler.
Sorry about that.
It doesn't all hit you until you go, oh no, that's coming.
And then
up.
I'm looking around like, why did my parents let me watch this? It was a simpler time in the 90s, you see, where you couldn't Google and find out how bad the movie was.
Yeah,
Happy Gilmore 2. Happy Gilmore 2 coming out.
I won't believe anything until the second trailer comes out, because even a teaser never is normally.
And is Happy Gilmore 2 just going to be like an awful Netflix adaptation of it?
Probably. That's all these movies ever are.
I want to give Adam Sandler the benefit of the doubt for Happy Gilmore 2.
Yeah,
but internally, I know it is what it is, a cash grab.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I'm not knocking Adam.
No.
It's the producers I have an issue with.
Hey, a lot of these remakes are coming out.
7890 has a suggestion to make golf better when you watch it on TV. 7890 says, smoke weed when you watch golf. Oh, there you go. Golf is way more fun when you're breaking the law. Did you notice that? Is that the only way to make golf fun on TV? I guess. I'm not going to try. 7308 said, actually, you put golf on when you want to take a nap. That's pretty good.
Yeah, knock you out right in that recliner.
8945 says, Happy Gilmore 2 is slated to come out on Netflix in July. Is it going to be a letdown? Happy Gilmore 2 is going to be a letdown, right?
Is it going to be a theatrical release? That's what I want to know. Or is it straight to streaming?
It's going to be straight to streaming because of the Happy Madison Productions deal with Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
But like, hey, let's have a fun game. Which straight to Netflix movie of Adam Sandler's was great? That's the list of Adam Sandler straight to Netflix movies that were awesome. I love Adam Sandler. I'm not knocking him. In case he's listening. I hope it's good. I'm keeping my expectations low so that way my disappointment's not high on Happy Gilmore 2.
It's probably a good thing.
It's probably
Probably
the
a good
best.
thing.
It's probably for the best. We did have other news to talk about before I angered half the audience with my golf take.
I think you're right. The only Gulf I want to deal with is, that's pronounced Gulf of America.
Gulf, yeah, we're big fans of the Gulf. But we got a trade war with China. Howard Lutnick was on ABC this week with, is it Jonathan Karl? It's Jonathan Karl. Jonathan Karl. I don't mean to go off on a tangent. Jonathan Karl looks like the type of guy that watches golf on TV. Am I right?
But can I ask you, the president's called President Xi a friend. He said the Chinese are proud people. Can you explain to me what the vice president was saying not long ago when he referred to the Chinese people as peasants? Let me play the sound so you can.
But before we play the sound, I can tell you. He's talking about the slave labor that is being used to make all of your goods in China with teeny tiny hands. And spoiler alert, before Jonathan Karl, who looks like he watches golf and Jonathan Karl looks like he watches golf on demand. Like, he doesn't even watch like live golf. He watches old golf. Like, that's
he tapes that stuff.
Yeah, he tapes it. It's on the VCR and he watches it again. That's Jonathan Karl. But before he plays the clip, Vance is right. China makes all of these products with their teeny tiny little hands in their work camps. They have the suicide nets up. Oh, what do you mean calling them peasants? Why would J.D. Vance do that?
We borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. That is not a recipe for economic prosperity. It's not a recipe for low prices, and it's not a recipe for good jobs in the United States of America.
Oh, and ABC News is very upset with this. How could J.D. Vance say something so true and honest? Doesn't he understand that you're not allowed to say that kind of stuff? You're not allowed to tell people that their Nikes are stitched together with teeny tiny little hands. You're not allowed to tell people that the little, you know how they get the screws so small in your iPhone? It's teeny tiny hands with teeny tiny screwdrivers. You're not allowed to say that. How could J.D. Vance do such a thing? So Howard Lutnick is on with Jonathan Karl, and he says, answer for Vance's comments.
Did the vice president go off message there? I mean, he's calling the Chinese peasants. This is something that we heard the Chinese say was ignorant and disrespectful. I mean, I haven't heard Donald Trump talk that way about it.
Oh, the Chinese called it ignorant and disrespectful, but did they call it a lie? Did they call it a lie? Oh, weird. Weird. Oh, even Donald Trump wouldn't say something like that. Oh, what? What are you talking about?
About the Chinese.
No, I'm just going to step back and really just leave the vice president to let him defend himself. He knows what he meant, and we all know what he meant, which is that, the Chinese have basically attacked America and ripped us off by undercutting our businesses. By the government of China assists their businesses to undercut our businesses, drive them out of business, and take that manufacturing over to China. It's happened in pharmaceuticals. It's happened in so many industries. We feel it, steel and aluminum, so many. So the idea is, if the government of China is behind their businesses, imagine if the government of America, the United States of America, was backing your business. I mean, you'd be a killer in the world. So that's what the Chinese have been doing. And finally, Donald Trump is standing up to it, saying, look, in order to make it fair for American businesses, we have to put a tariff on China to level the playing field, to take their government out of being a competitor. We need to have medicines built in America. We need to have those products here in America because we need them. We can't have a war and be asking China to send over penicillin. It's not reasonable.
Honestly, it's not reasonable. You want to get into a full-scale kinetic war with China? Oh, well, penicillin shipments have stopped. Aluminum shipments have stopped. Steel shipments have stopped. This is why we need to decouple from China. You understand that, right? And the more you tell the truth about China, the more China gets angry. Now, there have been some exemptions from the tariffs. Trump has exempted a lot of the electronics and the smartphones and the computer chips from new tariffs. This story broke over the weekend. Trump has exempted smartphones, computer chips, and other tech from new tariffs he imposed earlier this month, according to new guidance that has been set forth by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The guidance was issued late on Friday night after Trump imposed a 145% tariff on China, as well as a widespread 10% tariff on nearly all other imports entering the United States. Now, a lot of people are looking at this and going, Trump folded. Trump bent the knee. And Stephen Miller says, no, that's actually not how it went down. In fact, Stephen Miller says a step further, this was part of the plan the entire time to exempt these electronics and these semiconductors from the tariffs and these computers and these smartphones.
You were targeting specific items from day one. Walk us through these exemptions, Stephen, and what they mean.
Yes, this is just another great example of how President Trump had a detailed plan from the beginning that's being executed exactly as directed. And unfortunately, some in the media are deliberately misportraying that plan. The original 20% IEPA, that's the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, for China poisoning our citizens with fentanyl, that 20% rate is and continues to be applied to all imports from China. When the president issued his reciprocal tariffs, our government at the time specifically said that chips and semiconductors, which are critical components of our national security, were going to be dealt with through a separate commerce authority known as a 232. That was always the plan because those components are so essential to our national security. We need to have a separate process for dealing with how to reshore those essential industries.
Always part of the plan. We needed to have a better plan on how to reshore those industries. Now, Trump didn't fold. He didn't bend the knee. That narrative is definitely going to be pushed by the left, but you can take it to the bank. It's been debunked. It's another fake news hoax. Now, Trump has threatened tariffs on semiconductors, and what do you know? The mere threat of tariffs on semiconductors has made the industry react. Trump was hinting new tariffs on the semiconductor industry could go into effect as soon as he rips into China. The tariffs will be in place in the not-too-distant future. Trump told reporters that on Air Force One Sunday night. Well, you know what happens when Trump says something like that? Well, people react, and NVIDIA has immediately reacted. They're saying that the Blackwell chips have started productions at TSMC's chip plants in Phoenix, Arizona. NVIDIA is building a supercomputer manufacturing plant in Texas with Foxconn in Houston, with Wistron in Dallas. Mass production at both plants is expected to ramp up in the next 12 to 15 months, just off the mere threat of tariffs. You're seeing the industry react. Trump has all the leverage in this situation. Make no mistake about it. The left will scream, chaos! And Trump is looking at this zoomed out and understanding it's all part of the plan. The Trump administration is calculated here. They'll act like these guys are just insane and throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks, but no. Don't buy into that hype. Trump has very, very smart people around him, and they have a very, very clear objective with what they want to do. Now, Trump went on record and said nobody is off the hook when it comes to tariffs. He posted this on Truth Social. It says, listen, nobody is getting off the hook for unfair trade balances and non-monetary tariff barriers that other countries have used against us, especially not China, which by far treats us the worst. There was no tariff exception announced on Friday. These products are subject to the existing 20% fentanyl tariffs, and they are just moving to a different tariff bucket. The fake news knows this, but refused to report on it. We're taking a look at semiconductors and the whole electronic supply chain in the upcoming national security tariff investigations. What has been exposed is that we need to make products in the United States and that we will not be held hostage by other countries, especially hostile trading nations like China, which will do everything within its power to disrespect the American people. We also cannot let them continue to abuse us on trade like they have for decades. Those days are over. All caps. The golden age of America, which includes the upcoming tax and regulations cut, a substantial amount of which was just approved by the House and Senate, will mean more and better paying jobs, making products in our nation, and treating other countries, in particular China, the same way they have treated us. The bottom line is that our country will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. We will make America great again. Nobody's off the hook, says Donald Trump. Don't worry about it. Now, China, they're going to strike back. they are going to withhold rare earth minerals from us. How rare are rare earth minerals? Well, Elon Musk weighed in on that conversation over the weekend. I'll bring you what Elon said on the flip side. It's 1021 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Why some MTSU students have been kicked off campus. And we'll tell you why one Nashville elementary school had to move its operations to another building today. That and more coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 1025 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Hey, keep up with me when I'm not doing the radio show. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and True Social at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. We were talking about how boring golf is to watch on TV. And then that spun us off into Happy Gilmore which now the YouTube chat has descended into best Adam Sandler movies. Is that what we got going on?
Yeah, that may be my fault, but I was curious. I was genuinely curious.
What's your favorite Adam Sandler movie?
I saw somebody called it 50 First Dates, which is pretty good.
Okay.
I really like Waterboy.
Waterboy's classic.
It's a good one.
I don't think they could make that these days.
Oh, absolutely
There's
not.
no way.
Absolutely not.
Captain Insano. Shout out to Captain Insano. Mason's like our own version of Captain Insano. Mason, I don't know if you guys know this about Mason. Mason's like a giant. Like he's my producer, but when we go out in public, he could be the bodyguard. Like, honestly.
How tall do you think I am?
6'3"?
I'm 6'2".
6'2"?
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's close. Yeah.
But I mean, you're no small guy.
No.
I wouldn't want to fight Mason. There's other guys around here that I could see myself fighting and winning. Mason is not one of them. Looking at you, Ken Weaver. I see him back there.
I don't think he can't hear you. That's not fair.
That's not fair. That's not fair. We're going to talk to Ken about his football when we get back. All right, so Elon Musk over the weekend, he weighs into this conversation. China's going to be withholding the critical rare earth minerals. And Elon weighed in, and he said, rare earths aren't rare. Huh. That's interesting. He says China owns the refining, not the mines. And this happens to be very true. You do a little bit of research into it. Rare earth minerals all over the globe, everywhere, including in the U.S. But the issue is that China controls over 85% of the global refining. That's the inflection point, right? China can refine the rare earth minerals. So the problem is not digging it up and finding it. That's not the problem. It's turning it into magnets for electric vehicles, missiles, wind turbines, and then even the stuff that we do mine here in the U.S. gets sent to, you guessed it, China for processing. So America needs to rebuild heavy industry is what this all comes down to. Or we're going to stay dependent on China when it comes to that. But the minerals are here. Elon posting this tweet over the weekend, and he says, important to note that what matters is the ability to refine rare earth elements, which are not actually meaningfully rare, and manufacture magnets for use in electric motors. People understandably tend to think that rare earth mineral deposits are what's scarce, given the name. That's false. They're everywhere. As with lithium, what China has that others lack is the heavy industry of refining the minerals. And it does seem like America is going to speed up and ramp up being able to do that. And Lord knows we need to. And fun fact, Eric Doherty on X, he posted this screenshot. The world's largest lithium reserve is in Nevada, along the border with Oregon. They say up to 40 million tons of lithium. So it's just important to note that it's not the minerals that are rare when you're talking about rare earth minerals. It's the refining process that's rare with rare earth minerals. So we got to get a little bit tougher with China. We need to ramp up our heavy industry here to be able to refine these minerals. Kevin O'Leary says we should get even tougher with China. 400% tariffs. He said this before, but he said it again, and he's doubling down. I'll bring you what Mr. Wonderful said when we get back. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. 6 international students at Middle Tennessee State University have had their visas revoked. Provost Mark Burns says the status of the students was changed in a federal immigration database.
Information flow has been a bit sketchy, but they had their visa. These are international students whose visas have been revoked. So they are supposed to be going home. And if they don't, then they're in violation.
Burns also confirming that as part of the removal process, ICE agents may detain those students on campus. The news comes after 9 international students at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville also had their student visas revoked. Meantime, lawmakers on the Tennessee House Finance Committee will consider a bill today that will allow school districts to turn away or charge tuition to students in the country illegally. That bill's already passed a vote in the full Senate. Chadwell Elementary School is closed today as police investigate a stabbing in that school's parking lot early this morning. Metro Nashville police report somebody was found dead in the parking lot at about 6 o'clock this morning, so they closed off Port Drive in front of the school during the investigation. Classes for students of Chadwell are instead taking place at the former Graymar Middle School on Joyce Lane. That's the latest news. We've got weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft.
And you need to be prepared for any outcome. That's why Generator Supercenter of Nashville will help keep your family safe and connected. We make buying a backup generator simple and easy, with financing options available, free in-home estimate, turnkey installations, no worry warranty, and most importantly, the monitoring and service of your fully installed generator. Come see us at our location in Nashville or visit us online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
36 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to us and basically any way you want to. The iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, the 99.7 WTN app, the FM dial, which is one of my favorite ways to do it. You can watch us as well. Super Talk TV up and running on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Over on YouTube, we ask that you hit like and subscribe and weigh in on the chat. Plus, the more likes and the more subscribes that we get, the better odds my kids have going to a great summer camp as opposed to a work camp. Teeny tiny little hands. I told them they can make some great things.
Either that or it'll be folding boxes all summer.
It's free to do. Hit like and subscribe. We appreciate it. So stocks look pretty good right now, right? That seems good.
Yeah, let's see here. We are up 289 on the Dow.
Let's go. Let's
46 on the S&P, 127 NASDAQ.
Okay, perfect. I got into an argument over the weekend. I say an argument. I really just kind of did a drive-by in this guy's DMs because because he was so it's this guy I did radio with, okay? And now full disclosure, I did radio for like a decade in music. So you understand, like a lot more liberals, a lot more lefties. And he posted this long thing, and he's like, oh, tomorrow's my birthday, and I got this going on, and this going on, and this going on. Everything's great, but my 401k is trash. Shut up, Elon. Shut up, Trump. He's like, and any maggots that think that this is okay, da-da-da-da. So I was like, oh, my gosh, bro. So I had to. Like, I don't normally do this, but I had to. And I said, imagine being so bent out of shape about a 401k you're not going to start cashing in on for 35 years. Stop letting the TV do the thinking for you. Hey, chill. Like, go enjoy your birthday, idiot. And then I unfollowed him. I said, all right, nothing of value was lost. He's one of those guys that must be really mad about tariffs on China. You know? All right. One of the liberals going to do, because you know they've done it so many other times. It's like, oh, something bad happens. We put the other nation's flag over our profile picture.
Oh, no.
When do you think they're going to start doing that with the Chinese flag to like, oh, we stand with China against
I thought
these
for
Trump
sure
tariffs.
by now that would have happened.
Right? Like, when is it going to happen?
You know it's going to.
You know it's gonna.
Maybe it's already happening, but none of us are on Facebook enough to check.
Fair. If what Mr. Wonderful wants to do happens, well, then there will definitely be some Chinese flag Facebook profile pictures. Make no mistake about it. He was on Fox News over the weekend. He said, listen, we should even put more pressure on China. How does 400% tariffs sound? He said this once or twice before, but he's screaming it from the rooftops. Whoever can hear. 400% tariffs, please.
Playing pretty tough with China right now. Your thoughts?
Because China is not in the same group as the others. I mean, you can think about a circle of friendship with the EU, England, which is not part of the EU, Switzerland, and all the other countries mentioned, and of course Canada, Mexico. You can see that coming together with some kind of a reciprocal tariff, and I think we're well on the way there. But China's a completely different story. The problem with China is we have some real issues with them since 2000 when they came into the World Trade Organization. They've never complied by any of the rules. There are thousands of complaints registered at the WTO, and they've never been adjudicated, never been resolved. Now, when I do business in China, I can't use their court system, and yet they can use ours. They can actually sue me here with knockoff products that they stole the IP from. And so we've got a really imbalanced playing field. It's not a level playing field at all. Even worse than that, and I'm just giving you a list of litany that has to be resolved in addition to trade tariffs. Trade tariffs are a sideshow in China. They get to use our capital markets, the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. They list companies that are not compliant with general accounting principles. You don't even get a real share. You get a shadow share, and they don't provide the right financial statements, and they're not compliant. And they're, by the law, they should be getting delisted. And I believe they will be soon because there's a new sheriff in town.
Amen. New sheriff in town. Yeah, we need to apply more pressure. And O'Leary says, listen, the tariffs that we put on them, we're at 145% tariffs right now, not strong enough.
Paul Atkins just got approval to run the SEC, and he's going to be a China hawk, I believe. So all of this stuff has to get resolved. And that's why my view is, why don't we just ratchet it up? Why mess around with these 25% a week increases? Just go to 400%. Shut down a complete trade with China and start squeezing them until they come to the table.
That's what Kevin O'Leary wants to do, squeeze them until they come to the table. Now, one of the big news stories of the day, we have Donald Trump hosting visiting President El Salvador's Nayib Bukele. They are actually live in the Oval Office right now. We're gonna tune in a little bit. You can put them up. We'll put them up on the radio here and join this conversation in progress.
A crime problem, a terrorism problem that you need help with. And we're a small country, but if we can help, we will do it. And we actually turned the murder capital of the world, that was the journalists call it, right? Murder capital of the world, into the safest country in the Western Hemisphere. And, you know, sometimes they say that we imprison thousands. I like to say that we actually liberated millions.
Amen.
So, you know, like...
That's very good. Who gave him that line? Do you think I can use that?
Yes. And in fact, Mr. President, you have 350 million people to liberate. Yeah. But to liberate 350 million people, you have to imprison some. You know, that's the way it works, right? You cannot just, you know, free the criminals and think crime's going to go down magically. You have to imprison them so you can liberate 350 million Americans that are asking for the end of crime and the end of terrorism. And it can be done. I mean, you're doing it already. And I'm sure that people have seen the change in the streets. A long way to go because you're just initiating your second term. But it's...
I love that line that he said. He said, yeah, they say that I've imprisoned thousands, but I've liberated millions. And he's not wrong. Currently, El Salvador has a safer travel advisory rating with the U.S. government than Paris, London, Berlin. El Salvador has a level 1 travel advisory. Again, that is safer than some of the biggest Western countries in the world. Looking at you, France, Sweden, UK, Italy, Germany, Spain, the Netherlands. He imprisoned thousands, but he liberated millions. Trump is talking now. Let's put this back up.
And they came from mental institutions, and they came from gangs, and the gangs of Venezuela and other places. And hundreds of thousands and even millions of them came. 21 million people altogether, but many of the people that came, just a tremendous percentage of them were criminals, in some cases violent criminals. We had 11,088 known murderers. Half of them murdered more than one person. This was allowed by a man who, what he did to our country is just unbelievable. So we're straightening it out. We're getting him out. But what they did and what that party did to our country, open borders, anybody could come in. As soon as I heard that, I said, every prison's going to be emptied out into our country. That's what happened. And we're straightening it out. And we just had numbers. We had the highest recruiting numbers in the history of our country going into police departments. And a year ago, we had the lowest numbers. You couldn't hire a
biggest change. Yeah.
Nobody's
From
ever
the
seen
lowest to the highest.
And the military now, Marines, the Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, every slot is, I mean, we have the best numbers we've ever had. We call it recruitment numbers. And we've never had anything like it. We had records on at every single level. But very important, the policemen. The policemen are joining forces now that we're having a hard time with policemen because we weren't protecting our police. Yeah. And we cherish our police. The police are great, and the firemen and everybody else. But we have the highest numbers that we've ever had, the most enthusiasm. Great enthusiasm and on trade and other things. We're doing great. We're taking in billions and billions of dollars. We made 2 weeks ago, I gave them a little bit of a pause because, you know, you have to show a little flexibility. But we go back to what we have to do. The markets have been very strong once they got used to it. But
markets look good
today.
We
were losing $2 billion a day. There's no company big like this, but this is the biggest deal ever made. Now we're making $3 billion a day.
Is that good?
We're a great country, but we had stupid people running this country, and I can say it. What they've done to us at the border should never and can never be forgotten. It's a sin, what they did, and you are helping us out, and we appreciate it. Thanks.
Actually, what you're doing with the border is remarkable. It has dropped, what, 95%? It's incredible.
Yep. As of this morning, 99%, 99.1% to be exact.
Why are those numbers not in the media?
Well, they get out.
Good question.
News, like CNN.
Good question.
CNN over here doesn't want to put them out because they don't like putting out good numbers. They only like putting out because I think they hate our country, actually.
Yeah,
but it's a shame. You're right. Isn't that a great question? Why doesn't the media? Why don't they put out numbers?
Yeah, 99%. I mean, it's crazy, right?
We're doing
it's a crazy turnaround.
Christy, could you maybe say a couple of words about the border? How we're doing?
It's Christy Noem.
Absolutely phenomenal. What
Christy
a great
Noem.
leader can do.
I like Christy Noem, but we'll pull away from Christy Noem. What Trump has been doing on the border is just fantastic, for the record. Saying just there, 99% down. He's actually put a strip of land at the border under military control, which is just unbelievable. Like, we didn't need new legislation for this. Oh, weird. Trump has placed a 60-foot wide strip of land along the U.S.-Mexico border under the jurisdiction of the U.S. military. They say the move is aimed at continuing the White House's efforts to deter illegal immigration. Trump issued an order authorizing the temporary military control of the Roosevelt Reservation. It's a federally owned stretch of land established in 1970 by 1970, there's my dyslexia, 1907 by President Theodore Roosevelt for the purpose of border security. That strip spans parts of California, Arizona, and New Mexico. And now military personnel are going to be in control of that strip of land. And you might say, well, why stop there? And it's like, well, Texas is doing Texas things. So let's focus on the areas that need the most help. That's California, Arizona, and New Mexico. According to a report by Politico, Trump had previously authorized military operations on the Roosevelt Reservation during his first term to assist with construction of the border wall. This order is part of a broader effort by Trump to increase military involvement in addressing mass illegal immigration at the southern border. Now, while they're addressing mass illegal immigration at the southern border, I think that they're doing a damn good job. I want to get deportations up. I know you do as well. I think that we're dealing with rookie numbers, and we need to get those numbers a bit higher. One of the issues, though, has to be sanctuary cities. We can't get a lot of these guys off the street when we're not getting any cooperation from these local governments and jurisdictions. That crackdown on sanctuary cities could be coming sooner than we think. Stephen Miller was talking about this on Friday night on Hannity.
It's the same attack that we see, Sean, when you have California, a sanctuary state, that is refusing to turn over even illegal alien criminals and gang members to ICE. So these are illegal aliens in California who have been arrested by California police, by California law enforcement for serious crimes, for crimes against children, for felonies, for crimes that threaten public safety, and they are refusing to hand these criminal illegal aliens over to ICE. Instead, they're freeing them back into the cities to offend and offend again. By any definition, what California is doing is criminal.
Yeah, it's not just California. It's not just California. It's New York. It's Denver. It's Chicago. There's so many of these. They need to be dealt with.
It is a violation of our laws. It is one of the most heinous things that I have seen in my entire life in Washington.
But think about this. Stephen Miller, you go down to the border, and if you were to assist known illegal immigrants and, let's say, transport them, are you aiding and abetting law breaking? Wouldn't you get arrested? Wouldn't I get arrested? Wouldn't anybody watching the show get arrested?
Actually, you've actually seen this happen quite a bit, where American citizens are assisting cartels. They are assisting illegal aliens on breaking into the country, and they're arrested and they're punished for these crimes. Yet, if you are a Democrat in government and you do the exact same thing, you get a free pass?
Yes, in fact, you would do significant jail time, particularly under the policies of this administration. By the same token, if you, as an American citizen, put, say, a child into the back of a truck and drive them across straight lines, you'll be prosecuted for child trafficking. The Biden administration itself, the actual government of the United States, trafficked 500,000 children into this country and helped them to disappear.
It's true.
That is criminal. And back to the point about sanctuary states and sanctuary cities. There are laws against harboring. There are laws against evading authorities. There are laws against smuggling, laws against concealing, laws against obstructing justice. President Trump as we speak, is working on an executive order that will be issued in the very near future.
Let's go.
That will clamp down and crack down on sanctuary cities as never before. This is a cancer on our democracy, the effort of the radical left to shield even the most violent illegal aliens from enforcement. President Trump will be soon taking action. It will be more robust and more aggressive than anything done in this area before.
I can't wait. I can't. Trump is going to take action on sanctuary states, sanctuary cities. Can you imagine the outcry from the left? The meltdown, the absolute cope and seethe that is incoming when Trump issues this EO. I can't wait. My body's ready. I'm ready. Are you ready? Are we ready for this? I'm ready for this. It's 10:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for my friend Jason Whitlock. Jason's a great guy. And men, the time for silence is over. It's time to stand for truth. Like we all understand that. We know that. But how do you go about it? Well, join Jason Whitlock and Tucker Carlson in Nashville May 2nd and 3rd for Roll Call 3.0. This is going to be a gathering built for bold, faith-driven men who won't back down in the face of a collapsing culture. It's all going to start Friday night at 3rd and Lindsley with an exclusive, no-holds-barred conversation between Whitlock and Tucker, live country music from Randy Houser, comedy from Steve Byrne, and then on Saturday, they're going to take it over to Rocketown for a hard-hitting talk with Pastor Alan Jackson, my pastor, Doug Wilson, Corey Brooks, some live music from the Duggar Band, and more. These conversations are going to equip you to stand for truth and to be bold. And if you want to meet Tucker, you can grab some premium all-access passes. But don't wait. Those spots are almost gone. General tickets start at just $99. This event will sell out. Grab your tickets now at fearlessrollcall.com. It's time to step up. It's time to speak truth. It's time to be fearless. So join Jason Whitlock May 2nd and 3rd. fearlessrollcall.com.
All right, drivers got rolling roadblocks for pothole repair. This is in Whites Creek, and it is impacting 24 westbound at the Clay Lick Road overpass. We had a stabbing this morning before school started in Nashville, and we've got the latest on the meeting at the White House right now. El Salvador's president with President Trump. That's coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The best part of that so far was when he goes, yeah, they say we arrested thousands, but we liberated millions. And Trump looks at him and goes, that's a great line. Can I steal that line?
Yeah.
Can I steal that line? It's
Absolutely.
So good.
That right there is the actuality I have prepared to play.
Let's go. Ken Weaver. Ken's in the newsroom. He's ready to go. I hope you guys are ready to go as well. You can listen to the show anywhere. Thanks to our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We're on the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, the 99.7 WTN app, the FM dial. Super Talk TV is live as well. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Hit like and subscribe. We appreciate it when you do. So, Ken, did you hear me trying to channel you earlier this morning? You didn't hear that? Okay. All right. So our economic council director, Kevin Hassett, he was talking on CNN over the weekend. He's with Fake Tapper, who and Fake looks very concerned, and you can see it if you're watching on Super Talk TV because we have the video for all the audio. But he's I mean, you can look at Jake Tapper's face. He's not having a good time talking to Kevin Hassett.
Right.
And this is what Kevin Hassett says.
So the way that I would think about it is that in the previous administration, you could sort of say, if you're thinking about it in the football analogy, is that they were running out the clock.
And I said, where's Ken Weaver when we need him? They're talking about football.
Football.
And then the audience, they didn't think I was doing it right. Football. Is that good?
It's football.
A lot of people were saying that the emphasis is on the bowl.
Yeah.
I almost made Mason die when I said it, by the way.
Yeah. I was taking a drink of my water, and he hits it without even warning. And I just choking over here like, ah!
Well, you should have seen the people in the aisle at the Publix the day I did it and didn't realize where I was.
Trying free samples, almost choke on the toothpick.
Exactly.
Oh, my gosh. Hilarious. All right, so they're talking about... They're talking about the border, the crackdown, not so much football, but other things that are more important. Golf is still terrible to watch on TV. Now I'm just sliding that in. But we'll talk about the border a little bit more when we get back right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. And drivers in Whites Creek still got that pothole repair going on. So rolling roadblocks there. That's going to be 24 westbound through Whites Creek right now. That rolling roadblock to fix those potholes out there. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, Metro Police investigating the stabbing death of an employee of a Madison Elementary School. The victim's a female who was part of the custodial staff there at Chadwell Elementary School. A woman's body found in the parking lot around 6 o'clock this morning. Investigators believe the 52-year-old woman was stabbed to death by her estranged husband as she arrived at work. The suspect has not yet been located. Chadwell Elementary classes have been temporarily moved to the former Graymar Middle School on Joyce Lane. And right now in our nation's capital.
So I knew him as a very young man. Now he's just a young man. And he's done a fantastic job. Mr. President, it's an honor to have you. Thank you.
As President Trump welcoming El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele, the leader of the nation making Trump's deportation plan possible.
Well, it's an honor to be here in the Oval Office with the President and leader of the free world. We're very happy, and we're very eager to help.
And he says it's going to continue.
And we're a small country, but if we can help, we will do it. And we actually turned the murder capital of the world, that was the journalists call it, right? Murder capital of the world, into the safest country in the Western Hemisphere. And, you know, sometimes they say that we imprisoned thousands. I like to say that we actually liberated millions.
Yeah, so for more than 200-plus Venezuelan immigrants believed to be gang members have been sent to El Salvador out of the United States. A rapid response to the fire at the Pennsylvania governor's residence early yesterday morning likely prevented the fast-moving blaze from going further into the 29,000-square-foot home built in 1968. It's where 8 of Pennsylvania's last governors and their families have lived. Harrisburg Fire Chief Brian Enderlein admitting in a press conference this morning this was no ordinary response. His team first had to get past the fencing and security that surround the historic building.
Number one, finding where the fire was to start, and then additionally being able to gain entry. So we had to cut some gates. The complex itself has a lot of challenges to it. It is a very large complex. And it is very secure, right? So we can't just drive fire trucks to the front of the thing.
One Texas community went to the dogs over the weekend. Here's Sherry Preston.
The community of Bee Cave, Texas, welcomed a lot of four-legged friends over the weekend at the world's largest golden retriever meetup. It was organized by a local photographer, Alex Hopes.
People were just eager to be around the joy that is golden retrievers.
More than 1,200 dogs attended the event. All the proceeds from ticket sales went to a local rescue. The event featured dog races, a toy run, and an Air Bud look-alike contest.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Hey, how are you? The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to us anywhere, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, the FM dial, the 99.7 WTN app. You can watch us on Super Talk TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Hit like and subscribe. I don't like watching golf on TV, and I got a text here from Kevin. Kevin said, again, the only thing dumber than watching golf on TV is watching radio on TV. Come on, Kev. Come on, Kev.
Oh, yeah.
If you do watch the live stream when I do the show, man, we got video elements for all the audio elements. So there is an added bonus to watching the show on Super Talk TV on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch.
There's that. see all our interviews with live people on our Zoom calls.
Real
there,
people.
which is awesome. It's not
Real-
just a stagnant image most of the time.
Also, so all right. Speaking of which, so we have Monica Page, and you didn't plan this, but you got me off on a tangent. So Monica Page, she signed up to be on the show every Friday. She's going to join us live from the White House North Lawn.
Yeah.
Will you remind me? So we signed her on, and then we're like, okay, every Friday, deal? And she's like, deal. And then we're like, oh, last Friday she was at her bachelorette weekend. It's like, dang. So then I'm getting into the my notes and thinking about the week, and I'm like, oh, Friday's Good Friday. So are we gonna have two? Did we start a weekly segment just
to take 2 weeks off?
Just to do the Baseball Hall of Fame? Is that what we did? Damn.
Perfect timing.
That may happen on Thursday.
Hey, you know what?
It just it killed me because I'm like, we don't do this kind of stuff all that time, right? Like we don't. Do we have any recurring guests? I think we've tried it once or maybe, but we just don't.
Oh, you got Savannah.
We got Sav, but she's not weekly at a certain time.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So then I was like, how funny is that? How funny is that? So planning.
A recurring guest that comes every 3 weeks.
About once a month, she's here every Friday. So dumb. Oh my gosh. Did we lose the stream?
Oh, I sure hope.
Somebody said the stream is down. I don't think so. It looks like
we're still kicking on my side.
We're still rocking. All right. Like us on YouTube. Hit subscribe. We do appreciate it. Somebody said 22:02. I'm with Kevin. Quit trying to make us watch on the radio. Well, how would you be able to see my good eyebrows if you didn't watch on the stream?
He's got the beard trim today.
I trimmed the beard. I shaved for you guys. You don't even want to watch me on Super Talk TV?
Come on.
Very disappointing. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm very disappointed in all of you. Don't do it for me. Do it for the kids. Hit like and subscribe. Donald Trump with Nayib Bukele in the Oval Office. They're still there. They're still yapping because Trump never turns a good question down, and he never misses an opportunity to besmirch someone for a bad question. One of the things that they were talking about, though, was men in women's sports. So he has Nayib Bukele inside the Oval Office, and he says, in El Salvador, do you allow men to play in women's sports?
Men to play in women's sports? Do you allow men to box your women and box? Because I know you have a lot of boxing.
That's violence.
That's violence. It's not something they do.
That's abusive.
Violence against women.
It's abusive.
Totally.
But we have people that fight to the death because they think men should be able to play in women's sports. And some of those sports, it wouldn't matter much, but it still matters. But some of them are very dangerous for women.
Some years ago, I would say a decade ago or so, women's rights movements were pressuring so that we enacted specific laws to avoid men abusing women. And I think those laws were great because there were a lot of men abusing women. But now some of the same people are trying to backtrack on that and actually trying to make new laws allowing men to abuse women in sport.
Isn't that amazing?
So actually, that doesn't make sense.
In sports.
It doesn't make sense.
It's crazy. You know, they have weightlifting records, right?
Yeah.
A woman gets up, lifts weights. She's incredible. A guy gets up and beats her by 100 pounds. What are you going to do? A record that hadn't been broken in 18 years. You know, they put on an ounce, quarter of an ounce, eighth of an ounce for 18 years. Now they have a guy come up, ping. The whole thing is crazy.
It is crazy.
Ping.
Ping. If you're watching on Super Talk TV, which some of you are abstaining from, which I don't know why, peer pressure, but he did a bench press.
Yeah, he did the motions.
Shing.
I love that he does his own sound effects too. So
I know.
good.
What can't this guy do? He's his own soundboard.
But they continue to fight. And I don't like talking about it because I want to save it for just before the next election. I said, my people, don't even talk about it because they'll change. And but I watched this morning, there was a congressman fighting to the death for men to play against women in sports. And you say to yourself, why? What are they doing, right?
Yeah, we all used to say beating women was wrong, but now we cheer for men to beat women, apparently. Trump versus Maine continues, by the way. and radical judges are now throwing their weight behind Maine. And we saw this. Breitbart has a story. A federal judge has ordered USDA to unfreeze funding to Maine as the trans athletes dispute continues. I mean, the dispute for who? A dispute for radical leftist politicians and judges. The overwhelming majority of Maine's population understands that men shouldn't be playing against women in women's sports. Like, period. That should be the end of the story. However, it's not because, well, radical judges do radical things. And on Friday, a federal judge ordered President Trump's U.S. Department of Agriculture to unfreeze federal funding to Maine as the administration continues the battle the Democrat-run state over transgender athletes. Have you seen Maine's governor? Have you seen her? She looks like she drinks and smokes a lot.
Oh, no.
Have you ever seen, you know what I mean? You can just like see it all over somebody's face. Woof. If you're watching on Super Talk TV, look at this picture. Do you see the picture on Super Talk TV? Do you see that?
She looks tired.
She looks like she drinks and she smokes a lot.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with this story? I'm not sure, but maybe she can blame the reason why she wants men to play in women's sports on the alcohol abuse. USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins announced on April 2nd that the agency had begun freezing federal funds to Maine and their governor, Democrat Governor Janet Mills, for refusing to bar transgender identifying boys from competing in girls' sports. USDA said it paused distribution of funds after sending multiple requests to Mills, urging her to comply with President Trump's executive order and Title IX, which prohibits discrimination based on sex in education programs and activities receiving federal funding. So they've been going back and forth on this for a while. You remember what happened when they had all the governors in town for a big governor's dinner, don't you? This still may be one of my favorite moments from the Trump presidency thus far.
I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law.
Based.
Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics. Every state has a responsibility to comply with Title IX. They have an obligation, a legal obligation, and we'll be enforcing aggressively, and we're going to be protecting our citizens. We're going to protect. So just to end.
We're going to protect our citizens. We're going to protect these girls. Well, a federal judge has ordered the USDA to unfreeze funding to Maine as this dispute continues. District Court Judge John Woodcock. Not going to do it. Not going to make any jokes. I'm going to be as professional as I can be. District Court Judge John Woodcock issued a temporary restraining order in the case brought by Maine against the USDA, although he noted his order does not weigh in on the larger disputes surrounding Maine allowing trans-identifying males on female sports teams and in female spaces, the Associated Press reported. This is not the end of Trump versus Maine. And the Department of Education is actually going after Maine's K-12 funding, to which I say, good. Hit them where it hurts. Hit them in the pocketbook. If you want these radical leftists to allow boys to hurt our girls, then take away their funding. The DOE, the Department of Education, has begun that process of terminating Maine's federal funding in K-12 as the state continues to allow trans athletes on female teams. President Trump's Department of Education on Friday announced that it has begun the process of cutting federal funding K-12 to Maine as they continue to allow transgender identifying males on female sports teams. DOE is also referring to its Title IX investigation of the state to the Department of Justice for further enforcement action, the department said. DOE said its actions are a direct result of the Maine Department of Education, MDOE, continued refusal to comply with Title IX, which prohibits discrimination based on sex in education programs and activities receiving federal funding. The department has given Maine every opportunity to come into compliance with Title IX, but the state's leaders stubbornly refused to do so, choosing instead to prioritize an extremist ideological agenda over their students' safety, privacy, and dignity. That's from the Acting Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights, Craig Traynor. The Maine Department of Education will now have to defend its discriminatory practices before a department administrative law judge and in a federal court against the Justice Department, Traynor continued. Governor Mills would have done well to adhere to the wisdom embedded in the old idiom, be careful what you wish for. Now she will see the Trump administration in court, to which I say thank you. Finally, can we get some sanity back in this country? The governor of Maine. What a mess she is.
Obviously.
I mean, Janet Mills. Janet Mills. I was going to say something mean about the name Janet, and then I remembered that's my mother-in-law's name. So I'm not going to do it.
Probably for the best.
I was like an inch close, and I found myself teetering over that edge. I said, whoa, slow down there, Kimosabi. I almost went there. Jan, if you're listening, I love you. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the governor of Maine. Her name could have been anything. It could have been Sally, and I would have felt the same way. I would have done something. I pulled back by the skin on my teeth. I would have gotten a text from my wife in about 2 minutes.
That was weird.
All right, so Maine versus Trump will continue. We will update you on that. The conversation stemmed from Donald Trump having Nayib Bukele inside the White House, where they discussed that quite a bit. And they're like, yeah, it's weird that we're cheering on men to beat women after all these years of saying, we shouldn't let men beat women. Yeah. They didn't just talk about men and women's sports, although that was a topic that did come up. They wanted to actually know how many illegal aliens is Donald J. Trump planning to send to El Salvador? And his response was, well, I don't really have a number. As many as possible.
Well, Mr. President, you said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago. And they said that it must be facilitated.
Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You have no credibility. Please, go ahead.
President Trump, thank you so much. How many illegal criminals are you planning on exporting to El Salvador? And President Bukele, how many are you willing to take from the U.S.?
As many as possible. And I just asked the president, it's this massive complex that he built, jail complex. I said, can you build some more of them, please?
Based. As many as it takes. Fun fact, we're actually saving boatloads of money sending them over to El Salvador. Pennies on the dollar. What it costs to house a gang member in a maximum security prison in America is like $70,000. What we're paying them is like a quarter of that. This is actually a cost-saving measure as much as it is a public safety measure. So how many are you going to send? All of them if possible, but as many as we can.
As many as we can get out of our country that were allowed in here by incompetent Joe Biden through open borders. Open borders. You probably hear open borders and you can't even understand it because nobody can understand. Nobody smart or with common sense can understand it.
Nobody smart or with common sense can understand it. Yet the Democrats, lacking both of those things, very upset about it. It's 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. When we get back, I'll bring you some more of these highlights from Trump and Nayib Bukele. Plus, it seems like the leftists are already melting down that he would even have this man in the Oval Office. We'll bring you some of that reaction as well right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand here for my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. And if you're struggling with back pain, knee pain, or nerve issues, it's time to stop living in that pain and start living your life. Doesn't that sound good? Well, call the Wellness Institute of Nashville today, 615-246-5009, where they'll help people like you finally break free from that pain. And they'll help you break free from it without pills, without injections, without risky surgery. The secret is non-surgical spinal decompression. This is a cutting-edge natural treatment designed to relieve pressure on your spine and nerves so that way your body can actually heal. Whether it's back pain, neck pain, sciatica, numbness, tingling, restless nights, their team, led by Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley, will build a customized plan to tackle your pain at the source without gimmicks, without quick fixes. They're going to fix it for good. And right now, you can take advantage of the Big 47 deal where you'll get an exam, x-rays if needed. You can even bring your own MRI for a full doctor review. 47% off. They'll map out a plan to help you finally feel like yourself again. Don't wait another day. Call the Wellness Institute of Nashville right now, 615-246-5009. No surgery, no drugs, real relief. Your life is waiting. 615-246-5009 or visit painisbad.com.
Pothole repairs still backing up 24 westbound at Whites Creek. And now we got a crash if you're going to be traveling east of Nashville. Might be out of the way by the time you get there. Left shoulder block 40 eastbound right there before the Monterey Livingston exit 300. That's going to be I-40 over there in Putnam County. Deadly stabbing in a Metro Schools parking lot this morning. That and more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 11:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You can get those at betterwater.com. I knew it was a matter of time before word of me thinking watching golf on TV is dumb made its way back to one Matt Murphy. Was that you, Ken? Did you text him?
I did not, man.
Smart money's on Ken texting Matt. I get a text from Matt Murphy, which that's all. If you say his name too many times, he calls.
Wait, who texted you?
From now on, he will just be known as the afternoon guy. The afternoon guy texts me. He says golf hater. Awful. Now, whatever, dude. I don't waste my time doing dumb things. All right, we got Bukele inside the Oval Office, and heck of a meeting. One of the topics of conversation that comes up is that dear old Maryland dad. How can we deport a dad who's also a citizen of El Salvador? to El Salvador. How can we do that? It was also an MS-13 gang member. Fun fact, one of the things that they say we can't deport him there is because he's a fearful of persecution from the El Salvadoran gangs. So that's why we can't deport him to El Salvador, And I just want to remind everybody that currently, according to our own government, as it goes for travel advisories, El Salvador now has a level 1 advisory. To put that in perspective, that means El Salvador is safer than France, Sweden, UK, Italy, Germany, Spain, and the Netherlands. Weird. Weird. I'll vacation in El Salvador. Would you vacation in El Salvador?
I've gotten close.
Really?
Gotten close. Yeah.
I looked up Airbnbs the other day.
Oh, yeah? How they looking?
Looks like I need some more likes and subscribes. Here's what we got. They brought up that dear old Maryland dad in the Oval Office with Nayib Bukele, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and they asked him about it. And Stephen Miller enters the chat.
Would you answer that question also, please?
Yes, gladly. So, as Pam mentioned, there's an illegal alien from El Salvador. So, with respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So, it's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point.
Based.
As 2 immigration courts found that he was a member of MS-13. When President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization, that meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with the INA, that he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States. So he had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back here.
Are you pacing with what Stephen Miller is doing? He's dropping truth bombs left and right. So a district court judge is telling El Salvador that they have to send back a citizen of El Salvador. That's where we're at currently, right? Got it? Got it.
That issue was raised to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful, and its main components were reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither Secretary of State nor the President could be compelled by anybody to forcibly retrieve a citizen of El Salvador from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13.
So that was 9-0 unanimous by the Supreme Court, even Amy Coney Barrett.
Which, as I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged in the most barbaric activities in the world, and I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan
to ask for
But the
Supreme
Court's asking
to... And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0.
Even ACB.
In our favor.
In our favor, against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual, at El Salvador's sole discretion, was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time.
So even if El Salvador sends him back, we can deport him again. That's Stephen Miller breaking it down for the leftist media in attendance. And as you could hear, CNN's Caitlin Collins, very upset. It's 11:30 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac says Metro Police are looking for the killer from a deadly stabbing in the parking lot of Chadwell Elementary School in Madison this morning.
A 52-year-old woman, according to police, she worked here as a custodian, and she was killed after being stabbed to death. It happened in the school's parking lot just before 6 o'clock this morning. Police say the woman's estranged husband may have been waiting for her when she got to work.
Chadwell Elementary classes were moved to the former Graymar Middle School on Joyce Lane for the investigation. Happening at the White House right now, President Trump hosting El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele.
So I knew him as a very young man. Now he's just a young man. And he's done a fantastic job. Mr. President, it's an honor to have you. Thank you.
United States waging a bond with Bukele's El Salvador, where the Trump administration sent hundreds of people alleged to be South American gang members in the U.S. illegally.
It's clear that, with the numbers at the border, when even in Democrat-run cities, they get a help from the work you're doing. So I'm really happy to be here, honored, and eager to help.
Bukele says he will not return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States. And during the Q&A with the press, Mr. Trump was asked to clarify his comments that an attack on Ukraine was a mistake.
If Biden were competent and if Zelensky were competent, and I don't know that he is. We had a rough session with this guy over here. He just kept asking for more and more.
Back here in Tennessee, 5 days after 3 Loudoun County teenagers jumped off a bridge to escape police. The body of the last one has been recovered from the waters of the Tennessee River. The incident began as a car chase last Wednesday. One of the teens swam to the shore off Lake Drive. A second teen was found dead Friday. The Loudoun County Sheriff's Office, aided by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency and the underwater search for the third teen whose body was recovered yesterday. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, and it's Spring Rebate Madness still going on at Busy Bee, and the savings are real. Right now, you can get an $800 rebate on a mini split or heat pump with 17 SEER, a $500 rebate on heat pumps 15 to 16 SEER, a $300 rebate for duct sealing or repairs, and a $50 rebate for each tune-up. Now, the best part is they'll fill out all the rebate paperwork for you. All you got to do is sit back and wait for the check. And here's the best part. When you join the Beehive Club, your spring and fall tune-ups come with $50 rebates each. Do the math. That basically covers your membership for the year. Plus, Busy Bee will handle all that rebate paperwork for you. You don't have to lift a finger. And as a Beehive member, you get 3 tune-ups a year, 10% off all repairs, front-of-the-line service, no overtime or holiday fees, and up to $1,000 in replacement credits. It really pays to be a part of the Hive. Call 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, or visit busybeehvac.com. And you can listen to the show in a variety of ways on the FM dial, the TuneIn app, the iHeartRadio app, and more, the 99.7 WTN app. You can watch us. Super Talk TV is live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Shout out to our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. Got a text from my dad. I didn't know which way he was going to go on me hating on golf. But Al's on my side. Shocker.
Raised you right.
He said, golf. The surest way to mess up a nice walk. Thanks for listening, Dad. Appreciate you. The other thing I was talking about, which the YouTube chat jumped in on, I said El Salvador now has a level 1 travel advisory, which makes it safer than France, Sweden, UK, Italy, Germany, Spain, and the Netherlands. Well, over on the YouTube chat, Thundercleese said, well, Chris, you just listed a bunch of Muslim majority countries. That's not a fair comparison. Fair enough. Fair enough. We got a lot to cover. Not a lot of time left. I appreciate you being involved with the show wherever you're at, whether you're on the super text line, the phone lines, or the YouTube chat, 615-737-9986. Yep. 8857 said, you have single-handedly ruined the mid-morning time slot at 99.7 because of my golf take. Because of my golf take. Chris,
I would say retract, but we don't do that here.
I got another one. 1998 said, Chris, if you would have spent more time watching golf when you were tot instead of begging people to click the like button, you could have won 10 to 20. You could have won 10 to 20 million dollars for a week's worth of work, like Rory McIlroy, whatever, it's a stupid name, did last week. Bad career choice, dude. I still listen. Whatever. Golf. I'm going to see Matt Murphy today. We're going out to lunch with Shane Ring from Cover Nash.
I was going to say sorry that you have to go to lunch with Matt.
I just want to let you guys know that everything I'll say to you on the radio, I'll say to Matt in person. I don't like golf.
It's a genuine front here.
And Ray wanted to know if I asked Ken about football. He was out of the truck for a minute. I did. Ken said I didn't say it right.
It's more of a bowl, not a ball.
More of a football. Is that right?
Yeah.
You got to get like in the lower part of the jaw.
Yeah.
Bowl.
Extend that a little bit.
Football.
Yeah.
There we go.
Football.
There it is.
There we go.
There it is. All right. John in Lawrenceburg said El Salvador is now safer than Memphis. Yeah, probably. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys on the text line and on the phone lines and in the YouTube chat.
Real quick, before we move on from the text line, I just want to throw out to John in Lawrenceburg. He was like, what about my comment? And he is right. El Salvador is now safer than Memphis.
Yep, he's right. He is right. That's true. Do the Democrats are they gonna pick a new candidate anytime soon? Do you think? A lot of people dislike the Democrat Party? It doesn't seem like the Democrat Party is learning any lessons. If you, I don't have the sound on CNN, but we have it on in the studio because Murphy leaves it on to punish us, and they look like they've just been hit by a truck after covering that Nayib Bukele El Salvador meeting. And it's like, it's a dark day for democracy and all those things, I'm sure they're saying. But the Democrats have a real issue. This is an 80-20 issue again, and they're finding themselves on the wrong side of it. Right now, there's a poll going on. CNN covered it over the weekend. Which party cares more for needs of people like you?
This, to me, is one of the most shocking pieces of poll data that I truthfully have seen this year, or maybe in any prior year.
Really?
Yes, really, because
I love this CNN. Really? Hey, all the poll data you're bringing has been shocking to me. Really?
Just take a look. Cares more about the needs for people like you. You mentioned it, Kate Ball. We got a tie, even after this tariff war had already started, split between Democrats and Republicans on how people feel. Which party cares more for needs of people like you? And why is that so surprising? Because I want you to take a look at prior years. Democrats always lead on this question. Back in 2017, before the 2018 midterms, 13-point lead. 2005, a 23-point lead for Democrats. 1994, which was a big Republican year, a 19-point lead for Democrats. And now, all of a sudden, a tie? All of a sudden, the Democrats, who are the party of the people, no more. We get a tie on this question, on a question that has traditionally overwhelmingly been a Democratic advantage. Which party cares more for the needs of people like you? It's truly something I would not have expected to see, especially after this tariff war had begun.
Wow. The American people now view the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, it's tied. Which party cares more for the needs of people like you? Now, I think that the Republicans should be running away with this one, personally. But you look at that data. 1994, the Democrats had a plus 19 lead. 2005, the Democrats had a plus 23 lead. 2017, they had a plus 13 lead. And now they are tied. They're tied. And I think it goes back to all these 80-20 issues that Trump has been capitalizing on. Do you want to bring home El Salvador and MS-13 gang members? You want to leave them in El Salvador? The Democrats kvetch and say we have to bring them home. Do you want boys to be allowed in the locker rooms of your little girls and playing against them on the sports field? The Democrats scream and yell, we have to let them play. It's these 80-20 issues, and the American people are looking at this going, you guys really don't give a damn about us at all, do you? At all. And I think the tariff war with China actually helps us in this regard. But the left, they're waiting for Trump's approval rating to fall through the basement. They've been saying this. I mean, James Carville said, what was it, like 2 months ago, 30 days from now, his approval rating is going to be in the gutter. And as much as they're waiting for this, it doesn't seem to be happening. Matt Towery, he's a pollster. He was on with Laura Ingraham on Friday evening, and he said, "Yeah, they're waiting. They're waiting for the polling numbers, the approval rating of Donald Trump to tank, and it's just not happening."
Matt, let's start with you. The Democrats think they have the edge on messaging because of this. It's very obviously temporary market turmoil by shouting chaos. Is that breaking through for them?
No, not right now. I mean, if you look at the polls that are out by pollsters who did well in the 24 and 20 elections, President Trump has had a minor decrease in his approval rating, but very minor, not significant. When you look at the pollsters that, like the Nate Silvers and 538 like to go to and push, who were way off, their averages have been way down. The truth is, Trump is not off very much right now. The message is not resonating. I think they've been waiting, Laura, for a time period when they could say, aha, he's falling apart, and they could rush in with these legacy media polls, but you haven't seen them because it's not happening. I mean, Quinnipiac said he's down 12. Look, they missed the race last time by a mile. So if we listen to who really got the race right and knows how to poll Trump, this is not a big deal. The American people are more understanding of what Trump is doing than the Wall Street pundits.
And that makes the Democrats nervous. Like, they'll put on a brave face. They'll go do a 25-hour speech, and they'll act all tough, but they're nervous. Make no mistake about it. And I think the people that run the Democrat Party behind the scenes understand this as well. Enter the new candidate, Stephen A. Smith. I fully believe that this guy's running. And he was asked over the weekend, are you going to run? And his answer didn't surprise me. It might surprise you, but probably not if you listen to this show quite often. He said when he's thinking about running for president, he looked Jonathan Karl on ABC dead in the eyes, and he said, I think I have no choice.
I saw you mentioned Bill Maher. I saw Steve Bannon was on with Bill Maher, and he was asked what Democrats he worries about. And you know the only name he mentioned as a Democrat he'd be worried about. So are you really thinking about running for president? Is this something you think?
Listen, I have no choice because I've had elected officials, and I'm not going to give their names, elected officials coming up to me. I've had folks who are pundits come up to me. I've had folks that got a lot of money, billionaires and others, that have talked to me about exploratory committees and things of that nature. I'm not a politician. I've never had a desire to be a politician. I just signed a contract extension with ESPN. I am very, very
pretty good one, too.
With my
$100 million, right? $100 million, 5 years. Is that what he signed?
I believe so, yeah.
My day job. I'm very happy with my boss. This is a pretty damn good one. Just right. It's a pretty damn good contract. I couldn't be happier. But here's the reality. People have walked up to me, including my own pastor, for crying out loud, who has said to me, you don't know what God has planned for you. At least show the respect to the people who believe in you, who respect you, who believe that you can make a difference in this country, to leave the door open for any possibilities 2 to 3 years down the line.
Leave the door open. Leave the door open. Leave the door cracked. Leave the light on. Leave the porch light on for Stephen A. Smith. I'm telling you, the Democrats right now are in such disarray. The only thing that can save them is an outsider. That's it. That's it. And they need somebody like Trump to the Republican Party. When Trump came in and said the Iraq war was a complete mistake, no Republicans were saying that at that point. The Democrats need somebody just like that. The Democrats need somebody who's going to come in and say, boys playing in girls' sports is a mistake, and just rattle the Democrat Party to its core. Stephen A. Smith could be that guy. Does Stephen A. Smith make me nervous? Not particularly Stephen A. Smith, but it makes me nervous thinking about who would be running things behind the scenes for Stephen A. Smith. I think that you'd see a lot of similarities between a Stephen A. Smith presidency and a Joe Biden presidency, because it wouldn't matter what the puppet on the screen is saying. It would matter about the people behind the curtains. But Stephen A. Smith on ABC over the weekend, leaving the door open.
And that's what I've decided to do. But again, whether it's Governor Westmore, who I know, or Governor Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania, who I know, Andrew Cuomo, who I had the pleasure of interviewing, who's trying to get back in things, be the next mayor of New York, etc.
Andrew Cuomo. I'm not rapey. I'm just Italian.
I see a lot of people that obviously and clearly are more qualified than me. But in the same breath, when you think about what Trump is getting away with, when you think about what you brought up about Steve Bannon, who's trying to be slick because he's looking at a non-political individual like myself, looking at me as a populist. But you better be careful what you ask for, because some of the stuff that Trump and the right has been trying to get away with, like circumventing the 22nd Amendment of the Constitution, talking about how there could be a third term. Excuse me, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, third term. Conservatives don't care about a third term. Like nobody's clamoring for a third term. I think it's Andy Ogles. Is he the only guy that's really gung ho about a third term? Is Andy? Yeah, it's not going to happen. Let's be realistic. But Stephen A. Smith running on the Democrat side, I could absolutely see that happening. Now, he mentioned Josh Shapiro. One of the big news stories today was that the governor's residence in Pennsylvania, while Josh Shapiro and his family were sleeping, was lit on fire. This story is going to be memory hold so quick. I hope you understand that, right? Because it wasn't some white supremacist conservative, neo-Nazi that did it. No. The guy that did it, the suspect they have in custody, he looks like a lefty. He absolutely looks like a lefty. If you're watching us on Super Talk TV, you can see a picture of this individual on the screen now. You tell me, does this look like a guy that supports MAGA or not? I don't think so. And this psycho made it all the way inside the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania with what they're calling as an incendiary device, a Molotov cocktail. It's being described also as the gasoline from a lawnmower inside some Heineken bottles in some news reports. This guy scaled a fence, ran through, broke open a window with a hammer, and threw some Molotov cocktails inside, burning up an entire room, and somehow getting away, turned himself in. How does this guy make it past security? How? And I think that you'd have to wonder, is the leftist ideology getting the best of these lunatics? And what was his ideology? Well, I don't think that they're going to be able to pin this one on MAGA extremists. So I expect that this is going to be memory hold very, very quickly. This guy is in custody. Josh Shapiro spoke about it a little bit this morning. Was it this morning or was it over the weekend? I think it was yesterday. Yep, yesterday morning. Talking about his house being lit on fire.
Last night, we experienced an attack not just on our family, but on the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania here at the governor's residence. I want to thank the Pennsylvania State Police for safely evacuating our family, for their bravery last evening, and for their careful leadership of this investigation. I want to thank Harrisburg Fire and their chief, who was personally on the scene and spent time with me and my family last night. He and the other firefighters from Harrisburg ran toward danger to help keep us safe and quickly putting out the fire. I want to thank the Capitol Police for assisting the Pennsylvania State Police last night in ensuring everything was orderly.
Now, again, if this was a neo-Nazi, a white supremacist, an actual MAGA guy, as a lot of the lefties on X want to paint this individual, this story would be everywhere. I just envision this being completely forgotten before we know it, because it doesn't fit the narrative that the left wants to push. I'm glad nobody was injured, and I don't like political violence on either side, but this is definitely was not a MAGA guy by any extent of the imagination. Should updates become available on this story, we'll have them for you here all day long on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And when we get back, we'll check in with Chad Benson, and I'm going to let him know watching golf is dumb. 11:52, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 11:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Chad Benson's in studio. Chad, watching golf on TV is awful.
It's phenomenal. I love
it's the worst sport to watch on TV.
I love it. The Masters, baby.
Did you waste a lot of time this weekend watching the Masters?
I did watch it. Got my man Bryson lost. Watched Rory. I just watched golf. It was enjoyable. I watched some soccer, some golf. We watched some of our shows. I tried to have a low-key weekend. One of the kids wasn't feeling great, and the other one played gymnastics in the house all weekend.
There you go.
Charlie. She's like, Dad, I'm going to go get changed. She had like 12 costume changes. I was just, So, it was a good time. But, yes, golf is amazing.
No.
You know what? There's not many sports anymore that are bad on television because TVs are so amazing. You know what I mean?
I just don't like it.
Like, NFL games are comparatively to going and watching it at home. I can walk in and out of my kitchen whenever I want, do whatever I want. I have to wait in line. I do all of those things. And by the way, my TV is so big, it's like little midgets are playing in front of me watching football.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like golf on TV. I don't like golf, period.
Well, then that's it. You don't like golf, so it doesn't matter.
I feel I was pretty judgy today for people that did watch the Masters over the weekend.
You were judgy, I'm sure, towards Matt Murphy.
I was.
Of the Matt Murphy program on in the afternoon, not just the afternoon guy.
We're only referring to him as the afternoon guy. If you say his name too many times, he calls in. He said,
Matt, I'm with you. I watched golf all weekend. I saw some of your tweets. It was phenomenal. Roy got the career Grand Slam. Yeah, for Roy.
That's the new guy kissing up to Murphy.
Nah, I love me some golf.
That's twice. I'm just saying. You say it one more time, he calls in.
Is he like Beetlejuice?
If you go, so try this tonight. If you go in your bathroom and you shut the lights off and you say his name 3 times and you flip him on real quick, he's behind you yelling about limited government.
Is that what he is?
That's what he does.
Go home and beat your kids or whatever they wanted him to do.
Well, what stories you covering today?
You know what? Talk a little bit about Bill Maher. He had the big thing about going and talking about the president, which I thought was fascinating. We'll talk a little bit about tariffs, not too much. Tariff-tacular. Maybe some immigration. Did you see they sent all the ladies up to space and they came right back down?
Yeah, they wanted to know the effects of zero gravity on Botox and lip fillers.
By the way, Lauren Sanchez was who is marrying is going to be Mrs. Bezos. He's like, "Are you going to go, hon? Come on, if you don't go, none of them are going to want to go."
I heard that Katy Perry got up there, was insufferably singing.
Was she?
In space.
Oh, that is spectacular.
Yeah.
Did you see when she got off? She got off the rocket and got down and kissed the earth and was like,
I bet it's a ride, man. I tell you that. Win or lose, whether it blows up or not, it's a ride.
There was when they launched it, there was a lot of dust that got kicked up, and me and Mandis were watching it launch live. And both of us just kind of stopped for a second. We're like, whoa, did we just lose Katy Perry and Gayle King? Like, no.
Oh, that's right. Gayle King was on there.
Yeah, no, we didn't.
So we'll talk a little bit about that. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Fun stuff, some more tariff stuff, some political stuff, how bad the Democrats are suffering, that even Stephen A. Smith is like, fine, I'll do it if I have to. You guys suck.
Chad's in next. He's not wrong about Stephen A. Smith. 12 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.